Today's project is making what I call the ultimate chicken feeder, just to reduce the amount of work we have to do to keep our chickens, but it also keeps their food a lot drier and cleaner as well. And it reduces a ton of waste from the chickens scratching at the feed and throwing it all over as well. So let's get to it. What you need is a 5-gallon pail, a lid, and now I got these off Amazon, but these are special feeders that you'll stick into the side. They have a little rain guard right here, and then just a 90 that comes down for them to eat out of. So you can do this just with a 90 PVC. I think the one I used previously when I made these was 3-inch. But honestly, I found these on Amazon for probably cheaper than getting a 90 PVC pipe. And I didn't know it until right now, but it also came with a hole saw and everything too. So honestly, it's a much better bang for your buck than trying to cheap out. The nice thing about these is they come with just a little trap door that you can shove in there in case you want to move it around without losing feed. Not that you should anyways, or that if you want to close off one side from the chickens. So this was a kit of 4 of these. So what I'm going to do is take 2 5-gallon pails and put on either side, just so I can spread out the chickens a little bit more and put one on one side of the coop and one on the other. First, we gotta make our hole. Now there's directions to these, but who reads that? And I think they want you to put 4 or 5 inches up from the bottom. I'm gonna aim right at the bottom of the O here. And that should be enough room, and if I do that, now I can spin it around and perfectly on the other side using the logo on these buckets. So we'll just go right there. So now we just want to deburr this and clean it up here. Oops, a little extra there. Do the other side. There we go. So now since we have our hole in the bucket, we just want to take one of these 90s here and the little plastic nut for it. Slide that right in place. Now from the inside, I just want to take that, perfect. I want to take that plastic nut and tighten it down till we're snug. That's about there. Now I just want to make sure this is decently level, because you're basically having gravity move your feed down throughout the bucket, and they're kind of eating off the bottoms through. Oh, this one has a little door there. Take that out. So they're eating through this hole off the bottom of the pail for the most part. So you want that pointed straight down and just tighten it right up. So you can't do this with PVC 90 like I said, and what I did previously was I cut my hole and I put it in, but then I just ran basically just a ton of PVC cement right around, and those things held up for a very long time. It did a great job, but when I was looking into it, I found these. I'm pretty sure they were cheaper at the time. I've had them for quite a few months now, and I'm just getting to making these, but very quick and simple, much less messing around on the PVC. Pretty much all there is to it. You got one on either side of here, and didn't realize, but the color all matches. You got your little doors if you want to cut the chickens off from one side or the other. And now I gotta make the other bucket, and then I'll show you how to fill them up. Now since we have our 2 buckets made, and we got our lids, and I will say, one thing about these lids, they're a little bit more pricey, but they're all they had. But they do have a rubber seal, and that will just help to keep the feed fresher for longer. But now since we got our buckets made, I have a brand new 50-pound bag of, yep, your feed. Chicken feed here from a local mill. Now, we have found, and everyone I've talked to have found, that a local mill, Amish, Mennonite, or just local in general, feed tends to be much cheaper, much more affordable, but it also tends to be much better because when you have your feed in hot weather or hot stores or anything like that, some of the fats will start running out of the feed and then you're losing that fat for your animal as well. So it's not a great situation. So local is better because it tends to be fresher. So let's see how much feed one of these will hold, because I'm kind of curious myself. So the nice thing about these feeders is they will last quite a while, so you can fill them up mostly when you have two and go on vacation without worrying about someone having to feed all of your animals. Reduce this amount of work. So that one's full. This bag a little less than half full, but we'll see what we get in this next bucket. Okay, so for a 50-pound bag of chicken feed, it will fill almost 2 buckets full. So that's 50 pounds of feed. That should last these 21 chickens, I like to say about a week, week and a half, but depends the week and it depends the weather. All right, we'll get this top on. There we go. Ooh, that does fit tight. That's airtight. You can tell just by it pushing out the grain. Now we have that on. You can see you get grain. Oh, where's the camera? Grain right out there and right out there, and it kind of rests right on the bottom, and that's how it should be. Let's see how long it takes them to get used to this feeder. So I want to put it right there so they can get to both sides. Ow, you little bugger. So we have one kind of mean rooster. Just went after me. Might not last long. So this is what we were using for a feeder. Just this tray. So we had enough chickens that were burning through food quick. So this worked well. Except you can see they laid their eggs in it. They also pooped in it quite a bit. So that's where these buckets will be much nicer and cleaner. Okay, and we'll put, oh, there's an egg there. Well, ow! Since we're working on chicken feeders, I figured we also would work on chicken waters. Now, it's kind of the wrong time of year for these, so I probably won't have them in there for that long, but I might well make them and I'll use some more next year. So this is a automatic water for chickens. So what I'm going to do is kind of the same idea. You take a 5-gallon pail, you add a couple little holes around it, and then you put these chicken water bowls in. They're kind of, if you ever been on an old dairy barn. Now, if you ever been in an old dairy barn, they're kind of like some of the old water bowls. So when they're empty, they're flipped upright, and as they fill, they slowly sink down, and they shut off the water supply to it. So I like these more than what I'm used to, where they just have a little nipple. Normally they touch with their beak and it releases water in. But sometimes I think the chickens have a harder time figuring that out. They also have kind of nipples like a hamster water would have, where they knock it and it releases water. So I like this idea more. So we're gonna try these out and see how these do. It's the same company as the chicken feeder 90 that I use. They were pretty cheap and they're actually a good plastic. I figured these would be very, very cheap, but they're not. Found them on Amazon. So we're gonna try that out too. Oh, tips for heights. Yeah, okay. So anyways, it's about the same thing. You don't want it too close to the ground or it will never shut off and you'll lose all your water. So I'm gonna put these almost the same height as I did the feeder. So I'm gonna put it right in the center of this O here. And the other side. Let's see if this will fit or not. Not quite. So we gotta ream this out a little bit. So now to insert the cup, you take this little silicone O-ring here, stretch it right over the threads. And once that's done, you'll put this into a bucket, and from the inside, you'll take this little wing nut and screw it on and tighten it right down. You want to make sure it's good and clamped so the seal has a good seal and water won't leak out. Just like the feeders, you want to make sure all your plastic is out. You don't want your chickens eating or drinking any of these little plastic shards. It will not agree well with their gut. So now since we got our water made, we'll see how it works. So, and hopefully not get attacked by a rooster again. Well, they seem to be filling right up. Good thing. And it looks like they all shut off. So you can see they're no longer filling with water. So another reason those waters are nice, better than these, is these are the ones where they touch the little nipple inside and it releases water into a cup. Sometimes they spin around these cups like this and then the water can just drain right out. So that's a bit of a problem. But the other thing is this water here is clear so the sun can get in. So any algae that may be in the water will start growing like crazy. And all of our waters for all of our animals are spring fed. So they do grow a little bit of algae faster because there are more plant materials in it than bringing it up through a well from the ground. So it seems like the feeders and the water are a hit. The birds took onto them pretty quick. Now, the nice thing about these are they're really cheap. 5-gallon pail lid, that's about, I don't know, $7 or something like that. And the water and feeders were about $10 each as well. So they weren't bad. Now, a chicken water feeder, they can run you, geez, like 10 to 50 bucks depending on size. Now the best part about these are the volume. They have a ton of volume to them. So you can get them set up if you go on a trip, have someone check on your chickens, but they don't have to feed them for a week and a half. So thank you for watching, and I hope this is useful. This is what I call the ultimate chicken feeder and water. It's a great system and it lasts quite a while. The easier and less you have to do chores, the more likely you are to get animals. So I like to make chores as fun and easy as possible.